Hello, ladies and gentlemen, to a very special ShockCast with me, your host, George Jimenez. I am also here with Mr. Ryan Meitzler. He's there somewhere. Ryan? Ryan!
Yep. Hello. Sorry. 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 You lagged out on me for a little bit. Hello. Yes, I'm here. How's everyone that's not playing Phantom Pain at this moment?
We are off to a fantastic start, and of course, my special guest, former Thunderbolt from the Coalition, and also playing Metal Gear Solid Phantom Pain along with me, Mr. Tony Polanco. How are you, man?
I am good, dude. I was just about to yell, Ryan! Thanks for having me on, man. Metal Gear.
Yes, this is going to be a very special ShockCast. We are just going to talk about Metal Gear. We're going to skip new releases. That'll be on next week's regularly scheduled ShockCast. And when I mean regularly scheduled, whenever we get together. But this is really important. This is the weekend prior to the release of Metal Gear Solid 5, The Phantom Pain. Ryan is still awaiting his review copy. So me being the eager beaver, Tony and I have acquired copies of Metal Gear Solid 5 through nefarious means whatsoever. But we have been playing The Phantom Pain this whole weekend. Ryan, we are not going to spoil much. We're going to try our bestest. But if you have questions, I'm going to open the floor to you at some point, and you can ask us. But
what's
Tony,
what's a Metal Gear?
It's a dumb name for a robot that walks on 2 feet.
Yeah.
Okay, that's my only question. That's it.
Okay, so let's get some stuff out of the way. Tony, you've been playing it. How long have you? What's your playtime been so far? Just so I know, kind of like where we can stop talking and kind of. I want to leave some surprises for people who actually are going to play the game.
All right, so I've played for 20 hours or so. I've done, equal parts side missions and main missions, and I guess I could say this because it's not really a spoiler. So I got Quiet, I got Diamond Dog, and I just opened up Africa. So that's where I'm at right now.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, anything that was been revealed in trailers, anything like that, I think that's fair play. So no worries. I think I'm 9 or 10 hours in. I'm in like mission 8 or 9 because the story missions are numbered missions along with a bunch of side nonsense. And also, I've been replaying a lot of the previous missions because the way Metal Gear works is it's almost like twofold. You have this big open-world free-roam game that you can go into. You start off in Afghanistan doing a bunch of missions, trying to build up your private army as Snake. But then you can just sit back and retry those missions in a different approach and try to get all the side objectives for more GMP, which is your monies that lets you expand and develop Mother Base. And Tony, let's talk a little bit about Mother Base. At first, it looks overwhelming and daunting, but then I realized it's just a location to walk around and have people salute you and occasionally take a shower. But the good stuff comes from when you're in your aerial command center in your helicopter, making customizations and adjusting from there. What's been your impression of kind of the Mother Base, the metagame of Mother Base, of the development of weapons, the customization, that sort of thing?
It's nice to actually get into Mother Base because remember in Peace Walker, and this game is essentially Peace Walker 2.0, all you saw was just Mother Base on a screen. You can maybe rotate a little bit. Mm-hmm. So now you get to do the in-between stuff. Go in there, go from strut to strut, customize every single little thing, and I'm just enjoying all that. And I especially love the customization aspect of it. It's really, like, it's not, I don't know if it opens up more later on, but it's a little bit kind of limited right now, but right now I like it just changing the color and all that. And I'm thankful that you actually do get a helicopter ride from strut to strut because it's huge. And I also found out you can actually transport yourself via box to different struts too, which is nice. Yeah.
There's a Mother Base delivery service where if Snake puts himself in a box, it takes him to each of these. Ryan, you need to kill that air conditioner or I'm going to murder you. There's noises coming from you. I don't know what it is.
My air conditioner's off.
Okay. But yeah, they've got a it's a Snake delivery service, so you get from point A to point B. I acquired a car. So I drive from strut to strut, just kind of cruising, listening to David Bowie on the radio, which is another thing. The music in this game is kind of amazing.
Oh yeah, it's fantastic, man. All that nice '80s stuff. Yeah, it's like this is awesome.
What did you think of the opening of the game? And we'll try not to get too much into spoilers, but you saw some of it in the trailers of Snake waking up from his 9-year coma, and also I thought Snake was going to kick a little bit more ass coming out of his coma because I played a lot of Wolfenstein, and he was in a coma for, like, what, 30 years or something?
Yeah, well, that's it's Blazkowicz. He's more hardcore than Snake.
Yeah.
He still had his muscle mass and all that. And Snake came out all desiccated.
He doesn't have a piece of shrapnel sticking out of his head though, like Snake does. So.
Which is why he forgot Russian. There was some speculation as to like, oh, it must not be Snake if he doesn't know Russian, blah blah blah. And they really addressed that in the first time you're out there, and Ocelot's like, oh yeah, wait, you don't know what they're saying? He goes, oh yeah, it must be the giant piece of metal lodged into your brain. I guess you forgot Russian. Okay, not a big deal. We have to go acquire a Russian interpreter. That was really cool. Let's talk about and this is me being more excited about what I've been playing so far. I'm coming off 8 hours of like Metal Gear straight, so I'm just kind of like a bit overwhelmed. But and we'll double back. And Tony, if there's anything you want to interject with, let me know. We can talk about that. But let's talk about
the intro real quick, actually, since you were talking about it.
Sure. The intro.
It's kind of interesting because you were very limited in your motion, but I think that was helpful to make you feel really scared, especially when a certain something happens. Like, oh shit, I can't do anything now. I literally cannot do anything. Your mobility is very limited, and eventually you get more and more as you go along. But when you face off against certain people, you're like, damn, I can't do anything but just hide. This is crazy.
It felt like a survival horror game for a second there, just because people are being murdered and stuff, and like things are chasing you, and you don't know what's real, what's not real, and the person chasing you, and we will talk about it off air as we can speculate who that person is. But I'm kind of when I saw that, I'm like, oh, that can't move me.
Yeah, I have my suspicions, but we'll save that for after the show.
But yeah, I thought that intro was good, just because I feel like a lot of people did not play Peace Walker. Because first it came out on the PSP, and no one actually owned one as far as I know. They did have the HD remakes, but I think everyone's been playing like Metal Gear Solid 3 just because I don't think Peace Walker has aged all that well, just visually. Because if you play it again, it just that's hot garbage. I don't want my eyes. Ugh.
Okay.
But that first hour I thought was incredible, and just kind of introducing the, apparently it only takes Snake a week to recover from a coma, which I thought was
build muscle mass too, because he was all skinny and stuff, and all of a sudden, like a week or two later, it's like, oh look, I have muscles again. I'm like,
well, it was a week later, because also it's like, well, we got to go save this guy, so here, get used to your bionic arm.
Yeah, that was so weird. It's like, okay, you've been in a coma for 9 years, but we need to rescue a certain somebody, so we're gonna send you to the field. I know you have this big thing and you're sticking out your head. If you hit it, you may see stuff, and I know you're not fully up to task, but we need you to do this now. It's like, okay, sure.
Also, it's a sneaking mission with no support, so good luck.
Yeah, exactly. Very Metal Gear.
Yeah, get used to this piece of tech that has never existed, and just learn how to Full Metal Alchemist that arm. And it was like, dude, and I think that was a little rushed, but I think it was their way of all right, we need to throw them in action, because at some point my biggest fear is this was going to be like a Metal Gear Solid 4, where I was just going to sit around and watch cutscenes for most of the game.
Yeah.
But I find that the story just kind of moves along. Everything is told to you on the move or in between missions, because the way it's structured is you do a mission, you can go back to Mother Base, things happen at Mother Base, or stuff happens. Every level has kind of a TV episode opening and closing.
Yeah. Which is a little annoying, actually, to be honest. It's like, come on, I get it already. Just move on. I know who made this game. I know who stars in it. Let's go. Stop.
I get it, Hideo Kojima. You like movies. Everything's a little movie. Okay, awesome. But where to go? Do you want, Tony? What do you want to talk about Metal Gear? I'm gonna give the floor to you as I kind of recover.
All right,
I pretend not to play Metal Gear in the background.
Afghanistan is fucking huge, dude. It's almost overwhelmingly huge sometimes. It's like, can I get a fast travel option here? It's not like Red Dead Redemption where it's like I want to just go everywhere manually. This one, it's like, this country's kind of shitty. I don't really want to travel.
Everyone keeps shooting at me.
Yeah. And it's not like a typical open world game where you can okay, I'm just gonna run around and do what I want. No, you have to still be stealthy when you're walking around and stuff. So it's like, okay, let me get from point A to point B. Oh fuck, there's a garrison there. Okay, let me sidestep these guys. Or the thing is, you should sidestep them, but I'm like, I want to take guys back to Mother Base with the Fulton. Gotta collect them all like Pokemon. So yeah, the open, even though it's a little daunting, it is cool because sometimes you hit those spots where you're like, man, this looks fucking nice.
Yeah, I'm playing on the Xbox One. I think it looks amazing. You're on PS4 or
PS4, yeah.
Yeah, I had a bite to bullet. I was like, I should get this on PC because I had a brand new Super PC. This is gonna look amazing. But A, the PC version's not out yet.
Yeah.
And B, we don't know what that PC version will play like. I'm sure it's gonna look great, but it could also be a train wreck. So I'm gonna hold off and maybe wait for like a Steam sale or a Green Man Gaming sale to like get it on PC. But yeah, Afghanistan is big, and I like the free roam aspect of it. Of like, hey, here's a bunch of side ops. We can just kind of drop you in, and you can Fulton dudes, and that's maybe the biggest game mechanic is the ability to recruit soldiers by knocking them out, putting them to sleep, attaching a balloon to them, and sending them back to Mother Base, where you can assign them to different roles.
Just like Peace Walker.
Just like Peace Walker. So you have an intel team, a medical team, an R&D team. I believe, did you unlock the combat team yet?
Yeah, I unlocked all of them.
Yeah,
by the way, I need to say this because I got the medical team. As soon as that happens, fights start breaking out in your, in the thing, and like, oh, two guys got sent to the, to the infirmary. Like, why are you guys fighting?
You're not going back to Mother Base enough because if you don't go back to, because that's the thing, Mother Base is kind of a waste of time. But if you don't go back and just run around and have the soldiers physically see you, where they like, hey, blah, hey, blah, you, hit me in the face. Like, I go there and I just punch everyone in the mouth, and it's like staff morale increase. I'm like, all right, whatever. Yeah, if you don't do that,
that's what I found out.
Mutinies will break out. Have you unlocked the outer ops yet, where you're able to select?
Oh yeah. Again, this is how it is like Peace Walker. You get to select different units and send them around the world and stuff to do missions. You don't actually see the missions; it's just listed like, do that.
It's a really nice meta game, but I like the and I saw this at the E3 demo. Was you're on non-story missions, you're able to select a member of Mother Base to go do things in the open world. So depending on like what their specialty is, you might want to get like a botanist because they can see plants better than everyone else. So yeah, I'm looking. I haven't unlocked that. I'm like on my way to doing that, and that looks so good.
Yeah.
But yeah, what else is there? I'm just like, yeah, Afghanistan's huge. I like the free roam structure of the game, where it's like, hey, here are some side ops. You can drop you nearby, and you can do some things, there. But it's all like it's all passive things that I kind of enjoy. Like, for example, the interpreter mission, which everyone has seen, where that is not a main mission. You can just go play the game and not have and thing is, you just won't understand Russian. Therefore, when you interrogate them, they won't give you any information. You can still Fulton them, send them back to the base. Still don't know what they're saying because every soldier has a native language because you do kind of globetrot a little bit.
Yeah, exactly.
And oh man,
the nature of it is cool, dude. We were talking about this beforehand. How you went? Actually, this is what I did because I got up to episode 12. But I skipped episodes 8 and 9 because I didn't have an appropriate weapon for that. So I kind of like that. It's like, okay, do the missions on your own time. And I also like how I did one side mission, and then that side mission became Chapter 12. I'm like, oh, okay, that's kind of cool. So I like that. I guess, it's Metal Gear, done your own way, played at your own pace. Because somebody was asking me that on Twitter. I'm like, they're like, hey, what's the pace of the game? I'm like, you make your own pace.
Yeah, I mean, you could literally, you could sit there and just kind of gun right through them because unlike the other Metal Gears, you have very clear objectives. It's either just like go to this place, rescue this guy, go to this place, shoot, or recruit this guy. And I've been doing that on all the missions where it's like eliminate so and so. I'm like, no, you're going back to Mother Base.
Yeah, exactly.
Because you get the you upgrade all your gear, and there's hundreds of upgrades and hundreds of different pieces of equipment you can use. So like my Snake is running around in a Riot SMG, which I like more than the Sleepy gun, the tranquilizer gun, because it's one shot and they got to like auto reload and stuff. The Riot SMG is just like you just go up to do spray them and they just stun and they knock out, and then you can recruit and then you can just hold them from there. And a ballistic shield, so you just kind of like, oh, it's awesome.
Yeah. Oh, I also like how the enemies learn from you, because I've been going around shooting dudes in the head. Now they got little.
Oh yeah, they wear helmets now.
And then after I'm like, okay, shit, they're wearing helmets now. So let me just start shooting them in the body. Now they're wearing vests. I'm like, really? So right now I'm shooting them in the legs. I'm like, are they gonna have like leg armor too?
I wonder what happens when you start shooting them in the face, where they all start wearing visors at some point.
They haven't protected themselves against that yet, because even though they have helmets, I just make sure, okay, just go right up to the face, shoot them, and that's it. So no visors yet. Yet, I say, who knows?
I've been very I just like punching dudes in the face, because apparently punching dudes in the face doesn't make any noise.
Yeah.
So it's just punch, choke, tell me everything you need to know, slice their throat. But god damn it, Tony, this game is really good.
It's awesome. By the way,
good so far. Let's just say we're not this game has the potential of doing everything wrong, or like my fear is it's just going to be a lot of this sort of like repetition, go into the open world, recruit more guys, like you do kind of hit that loop.
Yeah, I've already hit that kind of.
But it's a satisfying loop for me so far.
Yeah, I've already hit a pattern I go through with every single mission, so I'm already there at that point. But it's still fun. A couple of things though. actually love sandstorms. They help me not have to be stealthy. I'm like, hey, sandstorm, I'm just gonna go around beating the crap out of everybody now. Just
toss dudes.
Does Sandstorm play as you're as you're sneaking around? So all of a sudden you hear doo, 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 like just technically.
No, I like you can put music to your helicopter, so I just have Ride of Valkyries show up.
Nice.
So when I have them do
nice.
when you have those missions where like everything just goes wrong and people are just shooting you, I'm like, all right, I need helicopter help. And the helicopter just comes down and just starts mowing people down, and it's just and it's just playing Ride of the Valkyries.
That's awesome. One thing I was having a problem with, like, I would always go to the outside of a base and scout dudes with the binoculars, right? But there'd always be like one or two guys that just catch you off guard. Now that I have the dog Dee, dude, he points out everybody. I'm like, this is fantastic. He just goes roof, roof, roof. Like, okay, and they just don't. Actually, they do notice the dog. They just go away, go away. That's all they do.
Go, you weird dog with an eye patch, like.
It's fun, so I'm like, okay, now I don't have to worry as much about guys because the dog's gonna literally point out everyone. Then if a guy's in my way, I'm like, hey, go sick him, boy. So he starts gnawing on his arm, and I used to go in there, beat the crap out of him. Very cool. So, and I know everybody knows this already. You eventually get quiet, but I haven't had her in my team yet, so I want to know how that's gonna be like. But I do enjoy the dog, even though with the dog you have to like, okay, your mission's 2,000 meters away. No horse for me. Gotta hoof it. You know.
Yeah, I've been sticking to I like D-Horse. So just kind of, and I gave him like battle armor, so he's got like a face mask. And like, look awesome. Like, you're a cool looking horse.
Yes.
So we got there. We talked about. How much of Quiet have you seen? Is there a justification as to why she's not wearing any clothes?
Yes, but everybody does know you do have a choice of bringing her along or not.
Right.
You know, so she's cool. You know, during her cutscenes, I'm like, okay, that's kind of insane. So, again, no spoilers, but it's fun. But, again, I'm enjoying the dog, and I want to know if there's any other partners you get, because it can't just be Quiet.
There's the robot. We've seen that in the 3 demos of the little walkie tank thing who can do like who does like a perimeter search, which is really cool, and then doubles as a walking tank that you can hop into. But those are the only buddies I know of so far. I'm kind of curious if you can bring people from Mother Base with you. Like, I would
want to know.
I wouldn't, because I got this one character named Alpha Fox, who's just like a blonde girl with like a face tattoo. I'm like, you look badass. Can you come with me always? But yeah, I haven't unlocked that just yet. Let's talk about. What's up, Ryan?
I hope Hideo Kojima is one of the buddies. Like, he's just in the game and he just like rolls around with you. That'd be awesome.
He's just too busy like trying to like mocap a horse or something.
Yeah.
Or busy updating his Twitter with like food pictures. Let's talk about Kiefer Sutherland.
Oh, yes. But I need to say this real quick. I just find it so funny how they hired this guy. He's probably the highest paid actor there, and the guy doesn't say more than 4 words at a time.
Yeah.
Like, he barely talks. It's crazy.
It's weird in cutscenes that when stuff is happening around Snake that a normal person would be like, ooh, I have questions, or wow, that's weird. He just kind of stoically just kind of...
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I do notice if you listen to a lot of the cassette tapes, he is more chatty on the cassette tapes and like the mission briefings and stuff. He asks questions, he follows up, like, who's XOF? Yeah. And like Snake is like having thoughts and stuff. So it's like you have to really go deep into your cassettes to hear Kiefer Sutherland's performance.
Well, I know I know a big part of why why Kojima chose Kiefer Sutherland over David Hayter, who he voiced Snake in pretty much every other game. They said that he wanted him, he wanted someone to be able to convey like facial emotions a little bit better, I think, than what David Hayter could offer. So I guess that's part of a big reason why. So maybe instead of giving him a lot of lines, they just wanted him to look very stoic all the time.
I mean, I will admit, Kiefer is really good. When he does speak, like, his gravelly, like, gravitas, like, when he talks, you fucking listen. And I'm like, that is, and, like, in all respect to David Hayter, I thought he did a fine Snake. Like, it's just, it's a different class of acting when that happens. And then you're just there, like, even when he just kind of, like, grumbles, you're just kind of like, oh, shit, he's pissed.
Yeah, but the thing is, David Hayter, he was doing a specific voice for Snake. Kiefer Sutherland, he's just angry. That's it. He's just as
he was doing a Snake Plissken impersonation for Solid Snake.
Yeah, it does like, at least from the trailers and stuff I've been seeing, it does kind of sound more like generic male video game gravelly voice, like type of thing, a little bit. But I think from what I've seen so far, at least in the trailers, he seems like he's doing a good job. Even though it is a little weird seeing not hearing David Hayter, because obviously like I've been playing through the older games for the past couple weeks, and it'll definitely be weird playing Phantom Pain and not hear him, because he's just like, he's so ingrained in my memory as Snake.
I'll tell you this, Ryan, you won't miss him at all.
Yeah, I mean, like, I've known that voice since 1998, basically, and I heard Kiefer Sutherland once. I'm like, okay, that works for me. It was just as simple as that.
It matches the character.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is fine. Like, and I'm totally okay with that. And David Hayter will find work. He's actually a really popular voice actor. He'll be okay.
Yeah, but I just wish he would actually say a little bit more in the actual game. But going on that, okay, because Metal Gear is obviously known for these huge, elaborate cutscenes, and you're right. In this game, they kind of do it like modern games. It happens within the actual game itself. A lot of first-person views and stuff, but you're still able to control the camera. So, but you're not missing anything either. Yeah. You're still getting the full story. So it's kind of cool how this game's. That's what I always like about Metal Gear in general. Every single Metal Gear game is different from one another. They always bring something new to the table, and this one's doing that as far as the cinematic. So I'm like, okay, that's cool. You don't need to like tell me for 10 minutes why the Shaga Hot is this or that or whatever.
Well, and that was always my biggest criticism of like Kojima's direction. Yeah. Like the way he tells stories is 20 to 30-minute info dumps.
Yeah, that was definitely the biggest thing as I've been going through the game is just like I'm not like I appreciate the stories he tells, and obviously he's crafted really like elaborate, wacky, weird, cool stories, but I'm just not a fan. I feel like it's kind of almost like the George R. R. Martin like sort of school of exposition where it's just long-winded, like run on giant things of it's basically I feel like whenever the characters speak, it's just like lore, and it just goes on and on for 30 minutes, and I lose interest after like the first 5 or 10 minutes.
I will admit though, it is weird not seeing that in Phantom Pain. At least not yet. I mean, I could be the end of a chapter, it might go on for 20 minutes, but it is weird not being interrupted with a codec call or just some crazy nonsense. Yeah, sure, Tony. I can give you the link.
All right, cool. Yeah, hey, the more the merrier, right?
Yeah. Your buddy Emilio is going to be joining us if I get him the proper fucking link here and how to work. The internet.
Yeah, invite. Oh wait, can I do this too?
Yeah. Well, there's a link for you.
Okay, awesome. But back
to the just kind of how the story's being told to you here. It's very almost like, I want to say streamlined. It's almost like the lore is there if you look for it. Like I said, there's a bunch of cassette tapes with like a bunch of like 2-minute conversations going on. But you can find out the whole state of Afghanistan during that time with just the Afghanistan tapes, and then their whole like Mother Base tapes. So you can know like, hey, Kaz, what's going on at Mother Base? And you get all these updates, and then the more you do, the more kind of updates you get around the world. The world, Snake, and all that, which I thought was really, really interesting. But Tony, do you miss kind of like the crazy Kojima-ness? Like, like when you could see a cutscene, you're like, oh yeah, this is clearly a Kojima cutscene because it's fucking batshit insane, and people have been talking 20 minutes about bees or something.
Here's the thing, it's still crazy Kojima. It's just condensed. All the extraneous dialogue has been taken out, but all the actual directing that Kojima is known for, that's still in there. It's like I said, there, when you see Quiet, it's like, oh shit. Oh yeah, only Kojima would think of stuff like that. So, like I said, it's the same thing. It's just condensed, which is fine. It's like concentrated, which is, it's not diluted. Because as much as I love those old scenes, sometimes it'll be like, all right. Okay, I'm just looking at a codec call here. Okay, can we move on?
There's 20 minutes of a guy peeing himself. I don't need any of that. Yeah, so, what do you think? What do you think of the villain? Without going too deep into spoilers, what do you think of Skullface so far?
What's up with the Zorro mask?
I like it. Maybe I'm thinking maybe because it's the desert. Maybe the visor helps. He's the man's been burned alive. I figure maybe he's got dry skin or something.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
He has no eyelids, so maybe the little domino mask is for for sand or something. But it is a ridiculous look. You have a burned face. You don't have to wear a mask. Like we've established that you're the bad guy, but no, a black Zorro mask. That's just
for some reason.
The point home.
But as I can't say too much about him because I don't know enough yet. Like I like his voice. That's about it. Like Snake. But I don't know what his real motivation is yet. Like, and I want to know, is he actually the real villain here? Because you know how Metal Gear is. There could be some plot twists and stuff. I wish I could go deeper into that question, but I don't know enough about this guy other than what's up with the Zorro mask? He looks cool. Yeah.
Oh man, what's been kind of your craziest Metal Gear encounter so far? Because I know just going into the open world, I've done like some crazy bullshit, and I'm just like, none of that was scripted.
Yeah, I guess I could say this because the trailer was just released, that walking crazy big-ass Metal Gear, like, that shows up. I'm like, whoa! And again, no spoilers, but yeah, that thing was like, okay, this is completely insane.
So you pretty much saw that scene from the trailer then.
It was different. It was cut differently.
Okay, but more or less the same scene. So so really all the stuff that we've seen so far has been from relatively early parts of the game.
Yeah, exactly.
That's awesome. Because I checked my status and I'm only 7% complete. I'm like, I've been playing 10 fucking hours. Like, what the hell, man?
Dude, I'm like 20 hours in and it's telling me I'm like 10% complete. So there's but I'm not doing what you're doing. I'm not replaying missions. I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna barrel through.
Oh no. I go back and like when I see like, oh, I could have almost S-ranked that mission. I go back and been trying to S-rank because like I said, I'm not the one reviewing it, and I'm gonna play it at the pace I would normally play a Metal Gear game. Is kind of. And it's weird. I'm playing it the way I would play a Metal Gear game, but also how I would play an open world game. Yeah. And depending how much I like the side activities, like Assassin's Creed, I didn't do much of the side stuff because it's always like collect feathers or chase music notes. Like I don't care about that. But like actual missions where it's like, oh, another character to deal with, or ooh, let me go steal blueprints for something. To me, those are fun side things to do, and the rewards are just where it's just like, hey, you got this. Now you get this new gun that shoots rubber bullets at people. And to me, that's that is my jam. Is there any customization? I remember seeing at the E3 demo there was like weapon customization. We put scopes on it. Have I just not unlocked that yet, or?
I haven't unlocked it either. If it's in there, I haven't unlocked it either because I haven't seen that. Because remember, Metal Gear Solid 4, there was heavy weapon customization. I haven't seen anything like that in this game yet.
Yeah, and I remember from the E3 demo, he was like, "Oh yeah, there are no like modification restrictions. Just if you want to put a scope on a fucking handgun, go for it. It's not gonna work, but whatever, you can put it on." But damn, I like it so much. All right, so Ryan, let's me and Tony have been talking a lot. Ryan, we are open to questions if you have any. Go. It's weird when you can't see Ryan's. It's weird when you can't see Ryan's face. It's just like we're opening the floor of questions.
Sorry, sorry. Yeah, no, my internet's being a little finicky. But yeah, no, I think one of the things I'm most curious about is just like how you guys feel about the open world so far, like compared to the previous games. Because like I went through and I played all of them, and obviously the previous Metal Gear games have been pretty linear. Like there's a little bit of some open worldness and
some backtracking and stuff.
Yeah, like in 3 and 4 especially, I think are like probably the most open they've been before. So what do you guys think of the open world so far?
Yeah, I mean, it's probably, I mean, maybe I played a bigger open world, but this feels like one of the biggest ones. But at the same time, there's not much to do in the world either. It's just, there's a couple of bases scattered around. It's just a lot of desert and rocks and stuff. So on the one hand, it looks beautiful, but at the same time, it's a little bit, I hate to say this, but a little bit kind of boring because there's not much, like, there's no side missions, like, random side missions, like the dog is probably the only one. It's like, oh, there's a dog. Okay, I'll bring the dog back with me. That's about it. I kind of would have liked it if there was a little bit more. Yeah.
Now that it's missing like that Skyrim thing of like once you get into a new area, just dynamic stuff happening on the fly. Yeah. Like the dog. The dog is always scripted. Like whenever you land and like you're gonna hear the dog barking, and you can ignore him, but that dog will always be there barking until you capture him and becomes DD. But yeah, I mean, it does take some getting used to because when the world opened up and like right in the beginning and also it's like, go be big boss, and I'm like, I've been awake a week, man. Like, calm down.
Yeah, exactly. Like I was seriously expecting like a 3 months later thing, but he was like, no, Kaz is gonna be killed in a couple days.
Like,
oh shit!
All right. We're on a boat. Learn everything you need. Here's your it's literally a montage of him going like this with his robot arm, and then like doesn't know how to load a gun, but now he does. Whoop, whoop. That's how I load a gun. I don't know how to load a gun, but yeah, it is a little daunting, but it does have that Metal Gear flow where you have an objective. It's here. It's maybe super far away, and you can just beeline for it, or you can kind of do like in other Metal Gear games, you can just kind of go off the beaten path, get goodies, interrogate people. I find that interrogating is really important this time around because they tell you more information about your objective, and some of the things it's like, hey, here's another way to go through here, or here's the route the backup's going to take, or here are all the vehicles. I can tell you where all the bad guys are. Like to me, you kind of have to go in with a different mentality because the other Metal Gears, it's always been a stealth. They've yet to say, Snake, this is a sneaking mission, this is a stealth mission. It's just a Snake, we need you to kill this dude. I don't care how loud you go. Because I've done a mission where I said, screw it, let's fly the helicopter as close as possible and start gunning them down. And felt super badass.
Yeah, I mean, I did that with one mission too. It's like, okay, I'm just gonna use my helicopter here because fuck it. You know.
But yeah, to answer your question, it is a little weird at first, but I like the. Because Metal Gear has always been kind of like a rigid game up until like you get to the boss fight, and that's where the game opens up. In the previous Metal Gears, it's like you have a million ways to take down Fat Man or the End or something. Like that's where the game is like that. That's where you see the game's creativity at its best. This is just like right off the bat, and just kind of like you want to mess with the AI any way you want to, you can do that. But yeah, Tony, Afghanistan is huge. It's also kind of boring. And man, it takes me forever to get from point A to point B. Every once in a while, I have to go like steal a Jeep because I haven't earned one yet. I haven't upgraded my Fulton where it can like pick up large items. Yeah, but I love Fulton. You know, I just like go. But my mentality is every time I see a base, I'm like, all right, I'm Fultoning everybody, and I'm taking all their equipment. And that's just kind of been my approach. And I never get anything done. Like like I replayed that Kaz mission where you got to go. I beat it once straight through, and then I'm like, oh no, I need to do it again because I missed 5 side objectives. So I was like, yeah, I'm going to go chase down the driver of that truck and extract him.
Yes.
Why? He's on the other side of the country. I'm just chasing him down on my horse. Just like, and I love, I don't know if you've done it, but I love setting up ambushes.
Oh, I haven't done any of those. How do you set them up?
Just easy. Anything that kind of like distracts the driver, it all comes to a full stop. So there was that one mission where you have to take out the 3 commanders, and they're all coming in from 3 different ways.
Yeah.
So you can see their routes. It's like mission 7 or 8. So what I did was, you see the projected route. I waited behind a rock with a smoke grenade. So as the Jeep was approaching with all the dudes in there, I threw the grenade right at the fucking windshield. It burst into smoke, and all the guys came out coughing. And then I just bursted in with Big Boss and just and then I just Fultoned everyone. And I took the Jeep to the base, and I completed the mission.
Nice. Oh, okay. Since you talk about that's the one. I actually got the chicken helmet because I died so many times during that.
What? Yeah, the game is hard. I will admit, this is a hard Metal Gear game, and I don't think there's a difficulty setting, right?
No, there isn't. So I got the chicken helmet. I was like, no, thank you. I don't need the chicken helmet. So then I was like, okay. so then I was like, you know what? Let me bring in my boy Pequod. So he just comes in and just rains fire and destroys all 3 vehicles. I'm like, thank you. Mission complete.
What color is your helicopter?
I think I just made it some like kind of like whatever color Snake has. It's like desert color because I'm like let it blend in. I didn't go with like hot paint or anything.
No, I went gold, man. I went gold. I put the DualShocker logo right in the side. Like it is loud. It plays right on the Valkyries. Like I want you to, when you hear this helicopter coming, I want you to be scared.
So does your
like gold helicopter?
So whoever's giving your mission, you're like, all right, George, you have to be super stealthy, and you can't let anyone see you, and you just ride in your ride of the Valkyrie helicopter, just like alerting everyone like immediately. Like,
well, see, it's funny because in this game you have no boss per se. There's no one giving you missions. Like Snake, you're the one in charge. It's just people supporting you. So it's not like, hey, this is a sneaking mission. It's literally just like, you're the boss. You can do it. Go make a difference. I'm like. Yeah,
I know. I just thought it was funny when you're like, yeah, all right, you have to be like the master of stealth, and you're just going in there, rolling in with your golden helicopter, just like letting everyone know you have arrived. So,
no, they're just like, Snake, get the job done.
Yeah, that's Brian, I don't even think I've heard the word stealth in the game so far.
Yeah, no, I haven't either.
Like it hasn't even come up as one of your options. Like, look, you have all the weapons in the world. Who cares? Just go for it, Snake.
Yeah.
I do feel like this game is. I might have tweeted this out earlier. At some point, your support team can come up with like a weather dominator machine that can change the weather, and I'm just like, this game is essentially the origin story of Cobra from G.I. Joe.
Basically,
You're rebuilding this army. You know, Snake is eventually quote unquote the villain, but if you play Metal Gear Solid 4 and sit to the ending, you're like, oh my god, he was a good guy all along. But yeah, anyway, I'm just like, I feel like I'm like the beginnings of like a terrorist organization that like Batman needs to stop or something.
Well, that's exactly what it is. That's exactly what it is if you know their Metal Gear lore. So yeah, you're doing that. I didn't know about the weather.
Yeah, that was in that half hour. That was in the Gamescom demo when they were showing the mother base stuff on the forward operating bases, which we haven't been able to do because the servers are not live yet. That'll be either hopefully maybe sometime Monday night or early Tuesday, but I definitely want to see that where you create like your own separate mother base.
Yeah.
With your own dudes, and you could lay it out any which way you want, and people have to try to infiltrate and take your stuff, and then vice versa. You got to do the same to them, which sounds awesome. Ryan, I'm gonna go back to you. You've been working on this feature called Late to the Game, where you look back at very popular games that we just kind of missed. Oop, didn't play Metal Gear. Sorry.
Yeah.
So. And I want to applaud you for playing all the Metal Gears in such a short span of time. You kind of gave Metal Gear 1 like a, you kind of played a few months ago. You're like, oh, I can do it.
Actually, no, I played that. I played that 2 years ago, so this was kind of a long time coming for me to catch up with the rest of the series. But go on.
Yeah, so there was a quick ramp up because by the time you beat 2, it took you a while to beat 2. And then we're like, hey, Ryan, this game's coming out soon. You're like, I'll be fine. And then as of like last week, you went through like Snake Eater, MGS5.
Yeah.
I will recommend reading for anyone who hasn't played Metal Gear yet. If you get a chance, YouTube all the videos for Peace Walker because this game is the direct sequel for Peace Walker.
Yeah, there's a bunch of a lot of other outlets have been doing like Metal Gear Saga in 5 minutes type things where they just kind of get you like the gist of the story because I think if you like really, other than playing 50 hours of Metal Gear games to catch up, which obviously not a lot of people can do. The lore is not the easiest to understand. And even though I played all the games, there are still some aspects of the story where I'm kind of like, what? It's a little hard to follow.
It's pretty convoluted, and what I've liked so far in Phantom Pain is that they've just simplified it. It's like, listen, Snake, you woke up, we got to rebuild this army. Cypher's a dick, so you got to take down Cypher. I'm like, all right. Awesome. Also, they're like weird ghost ninja people. I'm like,
for some reason.
Don't worry. You know what? I'm just ignoring that for now.
Yeah. But anyway, so yeah, my series I've been doing just kind of as a lead up to Phantom Pain because obviously a lot of people are excited, myself included, and I wanted to catch up to the series before Phantom Pain because obviously it's a special game for a lot of reasons. Like obviously it's a new Metal Gear game, but also it could potentially be the final Metal Gear game, at least directed by Hideo Kojima. So. And he's been tied to the series for 30 years now almost. So for a lot of people it's a special game.
Yeah, I mean I'm happy that this is finally his last game because it wasn't. I'm like, wasn't MGS4 supposed to be his final?
Oh
game?
Yeah, he's
MGS2 was
the last 3 Metal Gears he's been saying, oh, it's my last Metal Gear, and then it never happened. But obviously with everything that's been going on with him and Konami the last couple months, it kind of seems like this may be it. But I'm excited. So over probably the last 3 or 4 weeks, I've been playing basically it's been like 1 a week pretty much finishing. So I finished 2, 3, and 4. The only one I have left to finish is Peace Walker. I know that's kind of the most important one for this game, especially because it borrows a lot of. I will get to it. I may have to hold it off on it for now until Phantom Pain.
You can also breeze. You can also breeze through it by just doing the legit story missions and don't worry about all the side stuff because the game is pretty easy on its own. So you can just kind of barrel through that way. If you're so inclined. So Ryan, so Metal Gear Solid 1, 2, 3, 4. Which has been your favorite so far?
Sorry, say that again. Skipped.
Out of all the Metal Gears, which one's been your favorite so far?
My favorite one has been 3. That's easily been my absolute favorite one. I loved Snake Eater. I thought it was really good. I really liked the way, just to quickly kind of go through that, I really liked the environment. I thought the environment was a really cool change of pace for the series because obviously, Snake Eater is set in the jungles of Russia, and it really, it added a lot of cool new gameplay mechanics. Like, it had the camouflage, so you had to use certain camouflage and face paint to blend in with certain environments, so whether, you were in the woods or at night or something like that, which I thought was a really cool thing because it was awesome when I could just lay in the grass and just have a guy just walk past me, not knowing where I was at all, which I thought was pretty cool. And they kind of did that in 4 too that I liked with the Octo camo, where you could Snake would just automatically blend in with an environment. But yeah, Snake and the story in Snake Eater definitely was one of my favorites. I think it had a lot of cool characters. I liked Snake and Eva and all those characters. And I think the ending of that game, without spoiling anything, was just so emotional and amazing. It was.
You can spoil. I mean, okay. Yeah, we are talking about Phantom Pain. You can spoil Snake Eater.
Okay, the ending between him and Big Boss, which I thought was just incredible. I thought it was really well done and just a huge. There was just so much that I feel opened up about that game, and obviously because it's set before, it's the first game chronologically, so it kind of reveals, it's interesting, I guess, playing that after playing 1 and 2, and knowing so much, but then you're playing that game and you just realize, oh, okay, it just sets up so much of what comes in the later games.
And Tony, I don't know if you've looked at the cassette tapes, if you've listened to all of them yet.
Yeah, I've listened to all the way I have so far, yeah.
Okay, because you get a really good reveal early on in the game as to Cypher's motivations and we know who's running Cypher, but you find out what the rift between Snake and Zero was. And when I saw that tape, I was like, oh, yes! And I was in the middle of, interrogating a guy, and, okay, so that's my biggest pet peeve so far, is when you do decide to listen to the tapes, any of the mission dialogue will just play over the tape. The tape will not pause and continue. That you just get 2 tracks going at once.
Oh, wow.
Which is the worst thing ever, because I had re-listened to that tape. When I heard that, I was like, oh my god, that's amazing. And all of a sudden I hear Kaz, hey Snake, that's the guy you want to get. I'm like, I know that's the guy I want to get. I want to get some backstory.
You just want to be like, shut up, Kaz, I'm listening to a tape.
Yeah, dude, I specifically listen to the tapes while I'm on the helicopter. I don't listen to tapes outside of that. But the rift between them, they already told you what it was in 4, though. Remember, they had the boss's vision, right? And then they splintered off from that. So does the tape tell you more? I mean,
yeah, there's more. There's an event that happens, and you're like, oh,
okay, because I may have missed that tape. Yeah, we may have missed that tape, but yeah, dude, listen to the tapes while you on Mother Base or on your helicopter. Don't do it while you're in the middle of a mission.
Yeah, it's bad. But yeah, Ryan, you were saying, but yeah, I love the Big Boss and Snake relationship. I thought was like really good. I mean, and Big Boss, one of the maybe the only like female characters in Metal Gear who I actually like really liked and like isn't like overly like sexualized. It's like no, she's a badass. Like
yeah, no, I definitely feel like out of all, even though like I know like Ava obviously was really kind of like over the top in some instances.
She was a Bond girl.
Yeah, she was a Bond girl basically, but yeah, like even her character, even though they do have those kind of wackier moments, she's still like her story is really interesting, especially at the end when there's a lot of things revealed about her past and who she is and all that.
Is she a double? Is she a double agent or a triple agent?
I think
was that Ocelot who was the triple agent?
Forget the ending of that game was just ridiculous. Between that and then Ocelot being like, "Oh, I was a triple secret agent," and he's like triple crossing everyone. It's like, what is going on? I don't even know. But yeah, Snake Eater was probably my favorite. All the games were really good though. I loved. I just finished Guns of the Patriots last night, and I thought it was really good. I know it's a little heavy on the exposition. It's a lot happening at once because it's just like there were plenty of times as I was playing it where I just sat down. There was legit. I think it was toward the middle of the game, like after Act 3, where I set the controller down, went to make lunch, and cleaned the dishes, did all that stuff. And after half hour, this cutscene was still playing, and I was like, "Geez, these are some long cutscenes."
The thing is, it's one thing to give me exposition because, like, look, we have to tell you this important information. This is the only way we can do how. But literally, yeah, you did that, and you probably missed nothing.
Nope, no, not at all.
It's some bullshit with something about eggs or some nonsense. You're just like,
and the very end of the game where it was like an hour cutscenes. It was it was cool though. Like the ending was pretty crazy. So I just like because I was waiting for 2 after the credits for because I knew there had to be something after the credits too, and there was that little kind of bonus audio
with the Big Boss and you're talking about 3.
Yeah, no, about 4 too, but yeah, 3 they do it as well. Yeah.
They did it before Marvel, by the way, the after credits scene.
I was waiting. My roommates came in and they said, "Hey, what are you doing?" And I was like, "Oh, I'm waiting for the scene when Nick Fury enlists Snake and the Avengers." Like that's what I was waiting for. So, but yeah, I had a really good time going. Like I've wanted to play through this series for such a long time, and it's been probably the biggest. It's been the top of my my backlog. So I'm glad I'm finally mostly caught up now, at least aside from Peace Walker, and I will play Revengeance at some point, even though I know obviously that's not a canon Metal Gear game.
It is canon. It's just in the future.
Yeah, it's canon.
Yeah.
Also,
Metal Gear it's not like
Metal Gear Revengeance is my favorite Metal Gear, by the way. Just throwing it out there.
Oh,
I've not finished this game yet, but so far this is my favorite Metal Gear. But prior to Phantom Pain, I love Revengeance. But I'll let Ryan finish whatever you're saying, and then I'll tell you why Revengeance is so amazing.
And by the way, on the flip side, by the way, just on the flip side, Metal Gear Revengeance is my least favorite. I hate it actually. But anyway, go on, Ryan.
Yeah.
No. Go ahead. I'm done.
All right. Well, I'm going to tell Tony why he hated Metal Gear because I can. And it was pretty much everyone's reason for Hideo Kojima had nothing to do with it. I'm like, good.
No, okay, let me just explain before I get into it. When I heard about this game, I'm like, wait, Platinum Games is making a game with Raiden, and I've always kind of liked Raiden. I'm like, he always got a bad rap. I'm like, okay, they're finally going to do this guy. They're finally going to do this guy justice. No, they made him worse with the whole Jack the Ripper bullshit. Hey, I'm Jack.
He's a crazy robot guy. Yeah.
I don't know. And it's just hack and slash games in general, just boring to me. And this one was especially boring. The environments were bland as shit. It's like, come on, man. And
it looks like there was they had to give up something because it's like you can slice everything. I'm like, oh, I guess we're doing that tech.
That was cool, but That's the thing about Rising. I remember when they first showed Rising, and before it went over to Platinum Games, and it looked really cool. Like, because they had the whole thing where you could like slice everything. But then obviously there was some turmoil, and they had to shift it over to Platinum. It kind of became a different game from what it originally was going to be.
Yeah, because the original game, all they had up there this time was just a tech demo of like this. Look, we can slice anything. I'm like, all right, well, what's the game? And they're like, and then that's when Platinum had to come in.
I think that's where you run into the problems. With like, well, if you can slice anything, you could just go around and slice like every building and just everything, and it seemed like there was like no limits. Yeah.
Everything was lightsaber conundrum.
Yeah, but we don't need to talk about that game.
That game is awesome. The boss fight is a U.S. senator who meshes with Metal Gear. You're fighting you're not the president. I will admit, my favorite boss fight to say out loud is fighting the ex-president with swords, and he's wearing a Dr. Octopus suit. Like saying that out loud to people who don't know anything about Metal Gear, they just look at you sideways and like, how old are you? And like, how old is this person who made this game? It's like, no, it's. Whether you like it or not, Metal Gear has always been anime as fuck.
Yeah, it was kind of funny seeing the fight with Solidus, and you're just like, wait, Dr. Octopus? Like basically.
But yeah, I Raiden grew on me. But it's you have to mutilate Raiden in order to make him interesting.
Yeah,
but
that game made me actively hate him.
You have to mutilate me in order to make me interesting. But no, actually, Metal Gear 2 I think was the one I was kind of the most hesitant to go into a little bit, because I know there are a lot of people that don't like it that much because of because obviously like it's a 14-year-old game. I knew what the twist was that you play as Raiden for the duration of the game, but I thought it was really good. It had some cool, especially because it had some really cool boss fights. Like I loved the Fat Man fight. I thought was just so like crazy and wacky, that you're running around after this fat guy on roller skates, defusing bombs while also trying to hit him, and all those like crazy little things. And then like like even going back to Metal Gear 3, like Tony, when you mentioned like all the ways you could beat the end, how you can like shoot you can shoot him before you can even fight him. You can set your clock on your PS2 a couple weeks forward, and he dies from old age. And then I actually did, when I was playing 4 yesterday, I did the Screaming Mantis fight, and I learned about how you can use the doll to automatically like one-shot Screaming Mantis, which was pretty cool. I thought that was a fun boss fight.
All right, so Ryan, Metal Gear 3 is your favorite, least favorite? 2, I would say. Right?
I'd probably go with 2. Like it's they're not bad, but I'd probably go with 3 as my favorite and 2 as my least favorite, and then Guns of the Patriot and the original somewhere in between.
Right. Yeah, I think the problem with 2, at some point, its head went so far up its own ass, where like the last couple hours of the game, they just sort of lost me. But like the gameplay the gameplay played great. Because it's like, wow, this is a huge generational leap for like Metal Gear Solid 1, and going into this game, like this is amazing. This is why we got a PS2 or whatever. But yeah, like the last 45 minutes, it's just like, it's a simulation of Big Shell. I'm like, oh no. Like,
that's the thing about Metal Gear 2 is like a lot of people harp on it, but the thing is, as an actual game itself, just the core gameplay, it still holds up. It's fantastic, but it's the story. It's like, what? Like, dude, even till this day, I can't properly explain to you what happened in this game.
The AI, the GW, the Patriots are robots, the Patriots are computers. You got to blow up the internet because they want to control the information, the flow of information. They want to censor us.
I started laughing at the end of 4 yesterday when I was in the end cutscene, and Big Boss and Snake are being like, well, your fox die was a different breed of fox die, and then this fox die took over this fox die virus, and I was like, what is happening right now? It was like,
okay.
And then eventually when they're just like, and then no, it's Fox Alive, and I'm like, oh my god.
So that is my problem with Hideo Kojima. I mean, as a game designer and a man who produces games, I mean, he could probably crank them out a little bit quicker, but also he used every game to almost retcon the bullshit from the previous game. And I've had this discussion with someone else who's like, no, he planned this. I'm like, no, a person who mapped this from point A to point B does not produce this series of games, because after 2, that was supposed to be his last game, so he was like, I'm gonna go nuts with this shit. And then Konami had the gun to his head and said, oh no, man, we're not letting you off the hook. You got to make us another Metal Gear game because let's make $1 billion. He's like, oh man, how do I top all that? I was like, oh, I'll send it in the past because I can just make up origin stories for everyone. And then once that happened, he's like, this is my last game. He's like, nah, son, you need another one. He's like, all right, I need to kill the Snake's End. And then you get all this nonsense. The big boss was actually a good guy, but he was alive because he's got parts of Ocelot and Solidus, and then the Fox alive, and that drove me nuts. And then now that's gone. And then finally, we get another Metal Gear game, which is Peace Walker, which is like, people like Big Boss. Let's do a Big Boss kind of like thing going on. And then once that happens, it's like people want a conclusion for what happened to Big Boss, like that missing link of time. But but it's super convoluted, and that's always been my problem with the Metal Gear. With the Metal Gear story, it's just like you sit there and it's just super impenetrable. Impenetrable? Is that a word, Tony?
Yes, it is. Impenetrable.
Yeah.
Impenetrable.
There we go.
Yeah, I think that's especially because because of the way that the games have released, like the story is just so like not inconsistent, but I mean it's been released kind of out of order. Like it's like Phantom Pain takes place in the middle of the chronology technically versus so that was I think a little bit hard. Even though like the order that I played was fairly easy because like Snake Eater came before all the other ones I played, but. Yeah, I know the chronology is a little wacky for those coming into the games for the first time.
Super wacky. But Ryan, so you played through 4.
Yeah.
I have so much to ask you about 4. What did you think of that act where you got to do Shadow Moses again?
I thought that was cool. Like, it was, I didn't really know too much about that. So when the cutscene kind of came around, I was like, okay. And it was funny because I think you get to that part where you actually play a little bit from the first game again, where you do like the opening section of Metal Gear Solid 1, and I was like, well, cause it was funny because my TV just like blue screen for a second, and then like I guess reset itself, and then went into that section. I was like, wait, did my game just like crap out on me? I figured it was just the usual like Hideo Kojima like messing with me sort of thing. And then it went into Metal Gear 1, and I was like, oh, okay, that's what this is. This is happening. But yeah, I thought the Shadow Moses part was cool. It was just funny because there's like the part where you can where you have to go into like the front door. Basically, it's like, oh yeah, you could just go in through the front door. And then I saw all those little three-legged arm guys, the scarabs, and I'm just like, nope, not going in that way. So I went up. So I had said I went up in the stairs and like snuck in that way, but then I ended up getting spotted anyway, so it wasn't really that much of a difference. But yeah, no, that part was cool. Like I think it ties into how 4 was so like basically the fan service game because it was just loaded with especially when you get to the probably one of my favorite parts, which is the Snake and the Liquid Ocelot fight on the top at the very end, which is like one of the best parts of the game.
Yeah, and it turned into a fighting game.
It turned into a fighting game, and it tied together like 30 years of the game in one scene, and it was great. It was so cool. Like especially because as you're playing, and then like they switched the music from each of the different games that led up to this one, and I'm like, oh man, this is crazy.
Yeah, and like you said, it was in you were like, oh, this has to be the last game because everyone got their moment to like, oh, this is how so and this is how Meryl and Johnny like they got married, and look, they're there, and Raiden's reunited with so and there were robot parts, and you feel really bad for like I left there. My Raiden arc has been like, oh, this guy, he's so anime as fuck, is kind of like the Metal Gears has like very two stereotypical like anime characters. Snake was always the like stoic gruff guy, and Raiden was the that guy who doesn't know anything. And then he kind of made that turn to like, oh, now he's a little bit more Dante, more badass. And then towards the end, when you kind of get like his history, and you're like, oh my god, the Patriots like mutilated him and turned him to a robot who can't feel because he's Jack the Ripper, blah blah blah. And then like he finally got like a happy ending, and I was just like, oh okay, it's here for Raiden. He's been through a lot.
Just one.
Yeah, no, one, and that's it. Like one
just one tear.
But yeah, no. I liked Guns of the Patriots a lot. I thought it was good, especially just because it up until I did play Ground Zeroes I think earlier this year, but up until then it has the best controls out of the series because that was always one of my big issues with the series is the controls. Especially like I was so happy just at the fact that it had that just the simple like being able to crouch and walk was so that made me so happy because like every other stealth game because I really like stealth games. I play like Splinter Cell and stuff like that, and they all have it. And it just drove me nuts when I was playing the original Metal Gear games, how you always had to switch between, crouching, prone, or standing, and it I just ripped my hair out at some points because I would like do something wrong by mistake.
Yeah. People will be happy to know that like the exact control scheme from Ground Zeroes is in Phantom Pain, and the game handles pretty well. Like this is the first time in a Metal Gear game where I don't feel like I'm actively fighting the controls, because that was always my problem that like prevented me from like fully enjoying Metal Gear games, which is like, I want to do cool stealth things, but I know that like if you fuck up with this, you're gonna fall off the tree branch or like run into the guy and not pay attention. Like this game the controls are very simple and it's very forgiving as far as like we talk about the stealth in Phantom Pain, where I even unlock that thing for my arm where it extends my reflex time. So in Phantom Pain, when you're sneaking around, being all sneaky and stealthy, and a guy comes up across you, he gets the little alert thing, but then it goes into that slow motion view for a few seconds.
Yeah.
You can even upgrade that where like that mode lasts for a few seconds longer, so you can just go headshot, and I like when I'm close enough and like you hear like if you hear dialogue going, it's like no. To kill them all out, and then like this game is very easy to play. It's also super fucking hard.
Yeah, but the thing is, I find that it's difficult when you just try to just run and gun it. If you go in stealthy, like I've read some people that got the game early like us and like, man, this game's hard. It's like I'm not really having that much of a difficulty. Like I only had a problem when I tried to go guns blazing. I started getting killed. That's when I had problems. Other than that, I'm like, no, just take your time, take it easy. I want to talk about the controls real quick because Metal Gear Solid 4 was probably the first game I played where I was like, hey, I don't have to fight the controls anymore. Snake does what I want him to do. And then even in Peace Walker, I'm like, hey, this control's better than Guns of the Patriots. And then this one took what Peace Walker did and made it even better. So yeah, this is easily the best controlling Metal Gear game out there.
Speaking of controls, have you done the stealth? Have you held down the stealth button?
Hold on, you mean X?
No. When you prone. Which I guess it's
you mean the triangle,
it's cross, not X.
Okay.
X is on the Xbox One controller. PlayStation official PlayStation people will tell you, no, it's the cross button. Not the
the cross button. Yeah, dude. Anyway. I was just about to say, I feel so shameful about this. Every time I go to an event and stuff, and I get an Xbox controller, I feel like a 90-year-old man because I'm like, looking at it like, what? Okay, the cross button, or the triangle one where you're like.
That's the action button, but whatever. Yeah. There is a stealth button when you prone. You can hold down on Xbox One, it's A, use it's cross. Okay. Snake actually goes like on the floor. It's the so if people are walking by you, he puts his like head down and just kind of splays out, and that way people can walk right by. So yeah, there is like an invisible camo index, so that's why before each mission you can like equip your dudes out, and it's like, oh, it's a night mission, you should probably wear like blue or black or something. But yeah, if you're in the bushes and you're like try it out, prone, hold down that button, and he's just gonna go like.
The thing is, I remember they gave me that option in the very beginning where, like, the soldiers are like, I'm not going to say too much, but in the beginning, they're like, hold down, and I'm holding it down, and Snake wasn't doing anything. I'm like, okay, just
to be fair, that scene, what was going to happen regardless.
Yeah.
So even if you were not doing it the right way. But yeah, I love that little attention to detail where it's just like, oh no, now we're down, now just kind of like, put your face down. Like,
it's fun, man. It's fun. But you don't get that kind of weird centipede kind of walk that you get in Patriots.
Just work the butt a little bit, like, oh man.
I love that. The animation was just so wonderful. I made my day.
You know what I like this because we're talking about the controls. Why I like this Phantom Pain more than I did in like in 4 is that 4 had a lot of really cool, interesting things that you never had to do once in the game. So like that stupid like center caterpillar crawl, you can go through a game without ever doing that once. Like I feel like all the buttons here, like every move has a purpose, and you do fun. Like that dive has saved me countless times. Whenever a little indicator comes in, the Snake just dives into the dirt in front of them, and they're just like, what the hell was that? And then they come in, I'm like, all right, man, I'm sitting back, I'm laying down, sitting back, waiting for this guy to dart him in the face, and like you feel very cool when you're playing the game.
Definitely.
Very rarely are you in like an awkward situation where you're just kind of like, oh my god, I'm gonna fuck up the controls. But I'm digging it so far. Ryan, let's go back to you. Any more questions? We are here. We are knowledgeable mostly. Ask us
Give us your questions.
No, I'm really eager to play the game. Like obviously I'm kind of antsy and waiting for my copy to come in. It still has so I'm actually probably gonna check my mail after this to see if it came because still nothing yet. But I do have kind of one final question. It might be a little early, because you guys haven't finished the game. I don't want to get too spoilery, but I just wanted to know if this is the last Metal Gear game, whether produced by Kojima or Konami or whatever, would you guys be satisfied with what you played so far, or would you want to see more? Whether Kojima most likely wouldn't direct it if Konami is still
it's like you said, it's still too early, but I'm pretty satisfied with it so far, and I don't really have. Metal Gear games have never really let me down, really. So I think I'll be happy with it. But I can't really answer it.
Yeah.
But right now, yeah, I'm pretty
Another
happy.
Metal Gear game, you'd be happy with this.
Yeah, if this was the final one, actually, in my mind, it is the last one. Like, I'm pretty sure they're gonna come out with Metal Gear 6, but it's like, that's not really Metal Gear. So yeah, if this is the final one, I'm happy with it. That's fine.
For me, you know what? I was done at Peace Walker. I was done at 4, and then to me this was like a pleasant surprise. I'm like, oh, cool, another Metal Gear game. If another one does come out, I would probably be super excited. I'm not as attached to Hideo Kojima, where it's like, well, he's not doing it, blah blah blah, and I'm like, well, he's kind of given us a blueprint for like cool games, so. Will the story be just as wacky? I'm like, yeah, just get another crazy guy who watches too much anime and action movies.
No, you know who'd be
Hideo Kojima is Michael Bay, so it's like you can find someone like that.
You know who would be perfect for this if you can get him as Suda51? If you get him to do a Metal Gear game, how nuts would that be? Like,
yes, it'll go back to being
the perfect
crazy
person to replace him.
A different shade of crazy.
Yeah, that's fine. And to me, I'm open-minded when it comes to games. So it's like if you tell me another Metal Gear, I'll give it a shot. But like if you tell me this was the last Metal Gear game ever, I'm like, yeah, you know what? So far, I'm satisfied. And it's the type of game I like as far as like open-world games with like a good meta game behind it. Like I love sending out people to do invisible missions to come back with goodies. Like you do that in Assassin's Creed Black Flag when you're sending out your little pirate ships. You never see your pirate fleet, but who gives a shit? They just brought me back this really cool shirt. Like. I love stuff like that, and this is a game I can sink a ton of hours into, and like the online's not even opened yet.
Yeah, that's true. And by the way, you know how in Assassin's Creed, in a lot of these games, if you want to send people on other missions, you have to go to a specific place to settle it up. And this one's like, I drive, I'm in the field, I'm go do my thing. It's fantastic. I love that. Yeah,
there's easy access. The only thing that is a slog in this game is the actual traveling from place to place. Yeah. And I guess that makes sense because a fast travel would kind of defeat the purpose. In this particular game, a fast travel would be like it would be a negative.
I do want to mention that there is a fast travel. It's just we haven't unlocked it yet. Like you actually can.
Oh, the boxes.
Yeah, like you could actually
boxes,
have.
Right.
Yeah, there is actually fast travel, but not yet. Like you could, because there's different places around Afghanistan you could capture, right? You could actually have yourself sent to them.
Look at that, because I saw the box thing before in one of the villages. I'm like, oh, that's cool, and then I completely forgot about it.
Yeah,
so maybe
that's what that's for. Maybe it's there now. I just haven't really looked into it. But yeah, that's how you fast travel.
So is it like a legitimate fast travel? It will get you from point A to point. There's no like go back to the helicopter and then circle around and go here. Like it is just like a load screen, then you're there, or is it like a whole thing?
That's yet to be seen. I haven't seen it. I just heard about it. Because you're right. Because even with when you fast travel around Mother Base, you still have to wait for that helicopter to get around. That's why I'm like, I'm just gonna drive. I'm not gonna wait around for this stupid helicopter.
Some cruising music where you're there with a little robot arm, just like like that strut. Like I love the long the long struts to drive, and I'm like, yeah, this is all like Mother Base now has a scope to it, which I like.
Yes.
Though you can't do anything on it aside from just do cutscene nonsense and like
beat the crap out of guys
and punch dudes who like you. People like you. They hit you like, thanks, boss. And I'm like, what is up with? Why do people follow me? Like
because you're awesome. That's why.
Look, the last time people followed me, they blew up Mother Base. So it's like this guy's got a bad track record with like recruits. Like I don't know. But you know what, guys? I think we're gonna like end it here because I actually want to go back and play Phantom Pain. But any parting words, Tony, from the coalition? Like before you go, Tony, tell us where we can find you. What can you do? What can you do for me?
That's a very open-ended question right there. So you can find me at thecoalition.com. That's coalition with a K. No, we don't make Gears of War. We write about video games. And we're going to have, obviously, a lot of Metal Gear stuff this week because we're all nuts over there with the game. Check out my pod. Oh, by the way, thank you. Throwdown number 50, because we redid the whole podcast starting at episode 50 is coming, and we will have a giveaway. Remember, I got Metal Gear, and I also got a review code, wink, wink, wink. That's all I'll say about that. So make sure you watch the show. We're going to be asking you some contest questions, Metal Gear related, of course, and you may win something.
I may win something, because as much as I hate Metal Gear, my Metal Gear knowledge is on point. It's one of those things, I hate it so much, I need to research, I need to know everything about my enemy. So, I'll definitely be tuning in. And Ryan, you poor thing. So let's give you some backstory as to this debacle. So last week we were arranging like review stuff, and I was like, hey, Ryan, we can't get codes out to Giuseppe in Italy. We need it fast. We got to get your thing. And it was like, all right, great. So I did this podcast thinking like he's been playing the game a couple of days. He'd give us like a quick like status update on like we're gonna call this like Middle Gear Solid, the ShockCast. He's in the middle of Metal Gear Solid, and then I had an opportunity. Me and Tony were like, oh, we can go get some. We bought them. Okay,
we bought it.
We bought them.
It wasn't even nefarious. This store was selling it.
Yeah, it was actually an illegal transaction. I went. I'm like, hey, do you have this game? They're like, yes. Here's some money. It goes, oh, great. Here you go. Here's the game. And that was it. It wasn't. there wasn't some shady like I don't even think there's like some shady Konami thing happening. Like we didn't break into any offices. We didn't break into UPS packages outside of GameStop. No, we just bought them. So meanwhile, Ryan is still waiting on his review copy, so we'll probably get it sometime next week. So the review will be there. Ryan will be probably taking care of it, and it's a game that it's probably a review you don't want to rush anyway.
Yeah. Just
because you kind of want to milk it for as much as you can, or at least get like 30. If you put 30, 40 hours into the game and you're not done yet, you can probably tell me what you think.
I'm gonna be pooping Metal Gear over the course of the week once I get started. That is like.
But yeah, so the tables have turned for the ShockCast where me and Tony have been playing it and like sending messages to each other like, dude. Like I'm looking forward to next week when the mode opens up. I'm gonna put my contact info, like my gamer tag on there. So if you want to try to break into my mother base, you can try.
Try some.
You can try some. My guy's gonna put you to sleep, but you can try some.
I'm actually looking forward to the reaction that regular people are going to have to this. Not just who bought it early. Like, I really want to see what the public thinks of this game because I really think it has something for everybody. It's really a special type of game. So I'm looking forward to seeing, all the stuff on Reddit. Because remember, you could approach missions in so many different ways. So I want to see what kind of crazy videos people are posting and stuff.
Definitely.
Dude, one of the guys on my site, James Kennedy, because you can make the horse take a crap, right? He just posted he posted a 15-second video of Snake laying down by the horse, and the horse just crapping on him. This is the kind of stuff you could do in this game. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to just seeing insanity of that level.
Also, if you want a quick poop strategy, you can poop in the middle of the road, and that will spin out any Jeeps that drive near it. And it stuns the drivers.
Can that be a forward operating base strategy? Is if you don't want people entering your base, you just put poop everywhere around the outside of it to let they won't go near it. They'll be like, oh, this place smells. Let's retreat.
I wondered if you could use those animals in the forward operating base. Like, I've captured wolves. I'm like,
I got a bear.
That's what I was gonna say. Yeah. Like, I feel like if once I get the game, like that'll be my strategy is just get as many animals as I can and get bears and giraffes and like just goats and have them defend my base. Where like people try and invade and be like, oh, we're in. Oh no, goats! And then goats will just horde down on them, and it'll be great.
No, the trick, Ryan, is you put C4 on the goats. So as they're walking by, you put C4 on dudes.
Suicide goats. I like how you think, George.
Listen, I put C4 on a body I knocked out that was like in front of everyone. I was like, oh fuck! So I just went and put C4 on him and ran off. And then they all went to go wake him up. Like, hey dude, come back! Like, click, boom! I was like, maniacally like a crazy person. And and that's just. Like, none of that was scripted. I didn't have to do any of that, which is like what I love the most about the Phantom Pain so far. It's just said like you just play it any way you want. If you want to run and gun, you can put your battle dress armor on and you can say, all right, let's go to town. It's so I'm really digging it so far. So I'm thinking very positive impressions. The story can kind of be hit or miss right now, just because. I think if you go in expecting the level of craziness, like long cutscenes, that sort of thing, you might be disappointed in that regard. But if that was a turnoff for you, then you'll really like this game because all of that stuff is regulated to just like cassette tapes. They took the Peace Walker approach to storytelling, where if you want to dive deep into all that weird nonsense, it's there for you. It's just not in your face, which I always appreciate. As long as it's not hidden in like, oh, go get this webcomic or go to a website or some nonsense like that. But and then with the companion app, you can just put it on your iPad. And you can just listen to tapes as you go when that launches on Tuesday.
Yeah, one thing I do want to say before we wrap this up, because I personally feel even though the game isn't as exposition heavy as before, I still don't think it's a good entry point either. Because like some stuff, even though they explain it to you well enough, it's still out of context, like, okay, who's Chico, who's Pop? I don't know these people.
You need you need a Metal Gear primer, whether it be on YouTube or like a bunch of sites are doing like wrap up, like, hey, there's the whole Metal Gear story. Yeah, going in blind, not knowing anything about Metal Gear, you're just playing a very cool open world military game with some weird people.
Or you do what I did and just spend like 3 weeks playing through every single game. No big deal. You can do it.
Yeah, just, you know, you can be a crazy person like what Ryan did.
Yeah, but yeah, I just want to bring it up because it's important to be like, hey, can I buy this if I haven't played Metal Gear? You can, but you're not gonna.
You know, even if you,
yeah, you can physically, but you're not gonna enjoy it as much.
Yeah, I mean, and if you don't want to go through it, I would just at least get Ground Zeroes. Like, it's free for another day or two on Xbox Live and PS Plus. So yeah, play through that at least just to get an idea, because you'll kind of get a gauge whether like, okay, I'm kind of into this or not into this. Like, because gameplay-wise, you'll know whether it's for you just by playing Ground Zeroes and like the weird nonsense that goes around it. But you should play Ground Zeroes and get all the prisoners because they do show up at Mother Base.
Oh, have you been able to download them? Because the servers aren't up yet. So.
You still get the sneaking suit and stuff.
Okay.
Like I can develop, like you get stuff that you can develop later. Like I have the sneaking suit, I just haven't unlocked it yet because it's like a grade 4 sneaking suit. But I think it's the Ground Zero sneaking suit that he wears.
Okay, cool.
That you can unlock, which is pretty cool. But yeah, as soon as the servers kick in, you get some other goodies too. But I'm liking it. And Tony, thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, thank you for having me on, man. We're talking about Metal Gear. I was not going to pass this up.
And we will have you back when the Metal Gear Online launches next month, and so we can talk about what it's like killing dudes. I think it might be a big mess, which is why maybe it didn't launch with the game, just because. You know, just focus on how good it is. Almost like how GTA 5 did it.
I was just about to be like, oh, a massive open world game where the online part didn't work as well when it launched. Oh, I wonder what that is. Grand Theft Auto.
So yeah, I think they're taking that approach where it's just like, listen, they just want the most positive feedback. And it's like, we can hold off on this Metal Gear Online thing for as long as we need to. And as long as people will enjoy the game long enough to be like, hey, wait, wasn't there an online portion to this game? Be like, oh yeah, right, that's launching at some point, holiday season. But so far, yeah, I've been told October. That should be interesting. Just, you know, death matches and stealing stuff from each other's bases as random characters. I didn't go for Metal Gear for that, but I'm glad it's there, and we're gonna do a whole collective panel on it to see what people's experiences online were. But yeah, Tony, the Coalition, you're on the Twitters. What's your Twitter handle?
Yeah, at Romudeth, ROMUDETH. I say random crazy things that pop into my head. And this week, and probably for the next month, just nothing but Metal Gear for me.
Yeah.
Like, if I tweet about anything else, it'll be very surprising. Just Metal Gear. Maybe food, I don't know.
I'm comic books, video games, and like junk food on my thing.
Yeah.
And of course, our poor soul Ryan, who is still waiting patiently by his door for his review copy of Metal Gear. Thanks, Konami.
I wouldn't say waiting right by the door, but yeah, no, I checked it good like probably 3 times yesterday, but nope, nothing.
You'll get it eventually.
I checked twice today, no dice, but I'm gonna do laundry, so I'll give it one more shot.
And yeah, thanks, Ron, for ending us on that sad note.
Just me gonna be crying for the next half hour that Metal Gear hasn't come in yet. It's like. And also because I also have Mad Max coming as well, so I'm gonna have Metal Gear and Mad Max to go through.
Oh, Mad Max!
You poor thing. If you need me to take Mad Max off your hands so you can play Metal Gear, I'll do that. I'll take that bullet for you, dude.
See how it goes.
Yeah, I didn't have positive things to say about Mad Max from what I played at E3, but that's a different story for a different podcast. I was George Jimenez. I am and still your host of the ShockCast. Thank you so much for watching us. Keep an eye out for my info, because I want you guys to try to infiltrate my mother base and take things, and that's not going to happen. Put you in a sleeper hole. Watch out for Alpha Fox. Done. That's stupid. Metal Gear?
Metal Gear.